Welcome to Tech in the Right Direction, the podcast. This week, I'll be speaking with Stephanie Shreve. Stephanie is Chief Marketing Officer at PowerChord. Before taking on this title, Stephanie served as the Vice President of Partner Engagement at PowerChord since 2019. With over 20 plus years of experience, Stephanie has a proven track record of leading high-performing teams and creating solutions that drive business results. She embraces the opportunities presented by emerging technologies to reach new markets and grow business. Welcome to the show, Stephanie. I'm so excited to have you on.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. I'm very glad to be joining you today.
Great. Well, let's get started. So, Stephanie, as a woman in tech, can you share with us your career journey and how you got to where you are today?
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. As I was thinking about it, I thought how interesting it is, the way to phrase that question as a woman in tech, how many women have actually influenced my career, all the way back from my advisor when I was in college. Was a woman named Dr. Susan Gonder. She was very helpful in sort of leading me down the path that I was on to my first internship that turned into my first job. And actually a woman at that job led me to my second job. And, it's really been interesting how I've had so many great women mentors over the years. I started off actually in graphic design in my first job. And then through that, got into kind of account management and working with our clients, and started off at a traditional creative agency where we were doing a lot of newspaper and television and long form TV spots. And then through that relationship came where I am today at PowerChord, where we're a digital agency and a software development company. So it's really been a fun journey over the years.
I love that you mentioned how many women influenced your career, because sometimes you don't think about that, and so in pondering and thinking and reflecting back, it does come to mind, and that's great.
Yeah, it really is nice to see how many women have lifted me up over the years, and hopefully I can do the same for others.
Yeah, and that's so important for us to lift each other up. That is critical. Can you share with us more about your elite group at PowerChord?
Yes, that's a relatively new group that we have. It stands for Empowering Ladies in Technology Everywhere. We just started that a year ago or so as an employee resource group. So it's just an opportunity for people within PowerChord who have kind of a passion for empowering ladies in technology and for us to get together. I'm the executive sponsor of the group. We do have a president and a secretary, and then our team members, of course. And we meet monthly, and it's just a really nice opportunity to talk about everybody's experiences, good and bad. We've had a book club. You might know Brene Brown. We did a book club with one of her books, and we've talked about different programs and held a few different events. So it's really been a nice way to get together and just talk about something that we're all passionate about.
That's great. I love Brene Brown. Definitely you have read her books and listened to her podcast and all kinds of things. And I love the name Elite. I love that. That's amazing. And so you meet monthly. Do you have guest speakers there? Do you talk about challenges? Tell me a little bit more.
Yes, we do talk about challenges. I have been very fortunate in my career, and I've never had any situation where I've thought, if I were a man, this would have been different. I feel like I've been very fortunate, but there are others who I think, they've shared experiences where, maybe they felt like they weren't as heard, or they had to really go above and beyond in a group or some aspect of their career. And, so it's been very interesting for all of us to be able to talk about that together and to see, what can we do? Our real focus is on, younger women who are kind of coming up into the field. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stats about how young women, especially in high school, all of a sudden STEM type classes aren't cool
Mm-hmm.
anymore. And, they don't want to do math or science or engineering even really seems like something that a lot of young women just aren't thinking about. And so, one of the goals that we put on ourselves is, how can we influence young
Mm-hmm.
women? And we've been really pretty much focused locally. We're based in St. Petersburg, Florida. So we've been focused locally, how can we work with young women who
Mm-hmm.
may not have considered a career in STEM or considered a career in technology, and how can we work with them and kind of just invite them to take a look at it and see what's there and if it's something that might be interesting to them.
I love that. Something to think about is maybe take 3 or 4 of your women within your elite group, create a panel, and then maybe have a field trip for these girls to come out, or you could do it virtually, that they can watch and see, because they have to see somebody in a role for them to really believe that they can do it. So a lot of times is, if they can see it and they say, wow, she can do it, I can do it, and
Right.
so it's really great to do, some panel discussions like that and have these young girls talk to you. I don't know if you've done something like that, but just an idea.
Yeah, I love that idea. We have actually not brought anyone to us, and
Hmm.
mainly that's because we are in between offices. So we had an
Oh,
office,
okay.
a big office space, and now we're a hybrid work environment. We can come into the office or not. So we're remodeling, and we'll actually have our grand opening on March 31st of the new office. So that
Oh, okay.
will actually be a super time to bring them in. But we have gone out to two
Hmm.
different groups. We had one event we did with the Girl Scouts, and I really
Nice.
had so much fun with them. Um, some of their badges are for coding, and very
Oh.
specifically coding for good. So
Hmm.
what I loved about that was, it wasn't just about technology, but how can they use technology in a positive way.
Hmm.
So, it was fun to talk with them about that because there's so many opportunities out there. We talked about robots that can pull trash out of the ocean and just
Hmm.
all the things that, technology has available and could do even more in the future. And then started introducing them to some different concepts from coding. And so it was really a really fun event to
I love that. I
yeah,
love what you're doing with that. That's great.
yeah.
So, I am very, very passionate about focusing on the young girls because I know that they are our future. We're never going to get there with building a pipeline if we don't start with the girls ages 8 to 13, or like their prime time to get to them.
Right.
And if you can do that age group, then you're going to influence them enough to get them interested and excited about technology. Because I remember I talked to my daughter's college women in business group, and nobody was interested in technology. It was too late. They had their careers already mapped out. They knew what they wanted to do, and
Hmm.
technology was not one of it. So
Hmm.
it's really interesting that we have to get them early on. And I am really passionate about that. So I love the work that you're doing. And you just shared some of the ways, you're helping these young girls consider a technology career. Any other field trips or anything else that you want to add to what you said already?
Well, we did one other event. It was the sort of a field trip on our part. There is a group in Pinellas County for it's a place for kids to go before or after school,
Hmm.
and they are also very focused on STEM, and they're a client of ours. So it was really kind of perfect for us to be able to work with them. So we went to one of the middle schools to their before school program. So we got there in
Hmm.
the morning,
Hmm.
and we did an activity with them, and we used Legos. And this was about that age you were mentioning, they're middle school
Hmm.
girls. And so we did an activity, and we said, okay, you can build whatever you want to build, but we gave them different jobs so they could see that being in technology doesn't only mean that you're a software developer.
Mm-hmm.
There are many
Mm-hmm.
things that you could do. So one was a client, and one was a project manager, and one was the engineer, and one was quality. And, we let them have sort of different
Mm-hmm.
positions on the team. And then, they had a little competition at the end for what they built. My group that I was in charge of built a school, and they had so many fun ideas about high-tech vending machines and all these different things that they thought that they could do as part of the school. So that was really fun. And the other thing that's very eye-opening when I talk to these middle school age girls is when we were talking about marketing and digital advertising. They know so much about social media, and they said, well, we need to have all these different channels and some things I never even heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, and we still need to have Facebook for the grandparents. And I thought, oh, geez.
That's us. That's crazy.
So it's
But
really,
that's true. Yeah. At least they're thinking about, all different age groups, because now Facebook started with the young ones, but now I think it is mostly older people,
right.
so
That's their perception
yeah,
anyway.
it's true. I love that you're showing them that there's other job roles, because a lot of times people think, oh, I don't want to code. I don't want to sit behind a computer. There's so many different job roles in tech that they could really, really find joy in and have a lucrative career. So I'm so glad you showed that. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, it's
So,
very fun.
yeah. So, can you share with us your biggest challenge in your career and how you overcame it?
Well, I think probably the biggest challenges that I've had in my career have probably been around, team communication, because that can just be difficult, learning everybody's communication styles and, um, working together as a team, because I am, my career has mostly been on the account management side and being the liaison between the client and our company. I work with lots of people inside the company, and um, engineers. You might have to approach them very differently than you approach someone in digital marketing, and
Very true. Yeah.
and just learning what how can I say something that's going to help them understand what I'm saying, and say it in a way that they're going to be receptive to it, and learning that skill of kind of understanding your teammates. How do they communicate? How can you best communicate to them? That's you know take some time, I think, to
Mhm.
learn that and figure that out. And that's
Did
advice.
any of them help you kind of navigate through that communication, or how did you kind of master that?
Well, probably trial and error as much as
Hmm.
anything, but
Yep.
when I've had that opportunity to pass that on, I definitely try to, because I've been part of conversations that almost become a stalemate, and then you can separate people and say, okay, well, if you present it this way, I think that's going to help
Hmm.
move this along, or if you say it this way, I think that's going to help.
Hmm. I do
And
that a lot in my mentoring sessions. Yeah.
yeah, and it really does make a difference. So, yeah, of course, yes, I've had good, managers over the years who've helped with that. I've had managers over the years help me to pay more attention to detail. That was something that in my early days I was not as strong at, and
Hmm.
through lots of mentoring, really realize, the devil is in the details, and
Hmm.
that's been a huge help in my career too.
That's great. Yeah, and we don't have to be perfect. We learn from our mistakes. That's the
Mhm,
best thing to
mhm.
do, and the challenges really help you grow. It's not a bad thing at all. When people say, oh, I don't do this well or whatever, okay, you can work at it. Just like you said,
Mhm.
if you're not looking at the details as closely as you need to, then you've kind of trained yourself by mentoring and reading and other things in best practices around that, and you get better at it.
Right, right. Yes,
Yeah.
I realize being perfect isn't attainable, but being
No.
conscientious is.
Yes, and aware. Yeah. I
Yes.
think if you're aware this is your downside, then you work on that even more,
Right, exactly.
No, that's great. So, Stephanie, who inspires you and why?
Well, I don't know if I have a specific person who I would say inspires me, but one thing I've been very inspired by recently, and I just think it's such a great sort of movement that we're going toward, is I read a lot, especially, I mean, a ton of this on LinkedIn about, the future of marketing technology is really about partnerships and building out partnerships. And I think that the way to market is going to be changing probably over the next decade.
Mhm,
That it's not
mhm,
going to be these companies sort of, they're all specialists in what they do and sort of pitting themselves against each other, that it really is going to be about companies working together and bringing valuable information to the market. So much about, what I see is providing valuable content, not putting content back behind gated walls or,
mhm,
you have to enter all your contact information to download this paper.
mhm.
It really is going to be much more about relationships and trust. And I really like where I think business is headed, especially in the marketing technology space, because that's where we live and where I spend most of my time researching. And I find all that to be very inspirational. I do love the idea of people coming together to find solutions. And sometimes all of the new technology can seem scary, what
Mhm.
ChatGPT can do, and DALI, and all these image creators, and are people going to need jobs in the future? And there
Mhm.
can be a lot of things that are intimidating about that, but I really think it's mostly opportunity.
Mhm.
We've gone through these evolutions in the past, and I think there is a lot of opportunity out there. And the idea of people coming together and creating ecosystems and working as partners, I think is a really interesting and inspiring way to think about business.
I love that. Yeah. And I think thought leadership is very, very important, and like you said, not gating everything and making sure that you're getting all this contact information. People are so overwhelmed with their emails and with their, you know, just everything because trying
Mhm.
to do emails, trying to make sure you're checking your voicemail, you're checking your social media, you're posting on your social media. There's just so much to do. And so if you can make it simpler for, the average person, they're going to really focus on working with you anyway.
Right. I think so. Yeah. It's creating the relationship, building trust. I think that's really going to make the impact.
I agree. I agree. I love that. So this is a selfish question because I love to travel and I add to my bucket list every so often. So what is your most favorite place that you've traveled to and why?
We took a really great family vacation 2 summers ago, and we live in Florida, so we're in the East Coast of the U.S. But we went
Mhm.
over to um, Yellowstone,
Oh,
and
nice.
we knocked a bunch of national parks off of our bucket list. So
Oh,
we
wow.
went national park hopping, and I have 3 kids, and they all have the national park passports, and so
Mm-hmm.
you can get them stamped and validated. When you go to each of the
Oh,
parks, and we filled up the western U.S. section. We've completely filled that passport. So
wow.
it was really fun. We went to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons and the Badlands. I love the Badlands because those are open and you can climb around and climb on all the different rocks, and you're not really constrained on specific paths. So we had a lot of fun doing that. And then we went to Windy Cave, I think it was called, Mount Rushmore. We
Mm.
knocked off a ton of national parks. It was such a great trip. We got
I
to
love that. I really want to add national parks to my list because I have not really been to any, believe it or not. I mean, I've been to Grand Canyon, but that's it. So I love what you did because not only are the kids engaged, they're loving it, they're learning from each of the parks they're visiting. That's what a great exercise to do with your family. That's really nice. I love that. And you did the whole Western section. Wow.
we did
So where are you going next?
Well, I don't know. We didn't do the Southwest, so we have not done the Grand Canyon, and
Mhm.
so I know there's a lot in the Southwest that we haven't seen yet. So maybe
Well, if
that.
you're ever in Arizona, look me up, and that's where I am.
Okay.
Most of the time, but I travel quite a bit too. So, hopefully our schedules will line up and we can meet for a cup of coffee or a glass of wine.
That'd be great. Well, if you do decide to start going to national parks, definitely get the passport because when you go
Oh,
to
yes,
your center,
yes.
you can stamp them and it's fun.
It just makes it fun. Yeah, I love that. Okay, I'm adding that. So, Stephanie, in closing, what advice do you have for women thinking about a career in technology?
I would just encourage them to realize that there is a wide variety of careers available. So it's not just software engineering. If you're a person who likes sales, if you're a person who likes um, working with clients or advertising, marketing, software engineering, quality assurance, there's so many different avenues to consider. So it's not just one path. There could be many things, and I think the opportunities right now are just kind of endless with all the new technology that's coming out. So many new and interesting ways I think people are going to be able to get involved in technology. And what we talked about with the Girl Scouts, I really did like it. Technology for good. What
Mhm.
how can we use it to pull trash out of the ocean?
I love that. I love that. So yeah, that's great advice. And so this was such a pleasure and such an honor. Thank you for all the work that you're doing to get young girls interested in tech and helping women in tech with their challenges and questions and those types of things so that you can have retention in the field. So that's great. Please share with our listeners how they can get a hold of you.
I would say the easiest way is probably on LinkedIn. I'm Stephanie Shreve on LinkedIn, and I check it every day. So that would probably be the easiest.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again, Stephanie. This was such a pleasure. Really enjoyed our time together, and I hope we can meet in person soon.
Okay, thank you. I also appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for listening to Tech in the Right Direction. Please take a minute to subscribe or follow so that you never miss an episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and comment. Thank you. See you next week.
From IT skill enhancements to end-user adoption training, Directions Training is your resource to help optimize the effectiveness of your technology investments. Over 500,000 students have taken advantage of our wide selection of technology and business training solutions covering the most popular applications today, such as Microsoft 365, Azure, Windows 10, and more. As a podcast listener, we invite you to take advantage of an exclusive offer. Receive 30 days of free access to our Microsoft official curriculum on-demand courses for IT professionals or end users. Visit us at www.directionstraining.com/podcast to claim this offer today. Hurry, this offer is only available for a limited time. Success is a journey. Ask for directions.